Okay, so I'm on my last two screens. It's going to be corporate citizenship and finance and cash flow. Now, I mentioned to you in class that a couple of things you want to do is you want to improve the working conditions for your workers because that gives you an immediate boost in productivity. So I'm going to continue those two initiatives. I also did the supplier code of conduct. That's always a good thing just to make sure that your workers or that your suppliers are doing what they're supposed to. Because I'm running the differentiation strategy, I'm going to have relatively low market share, which means that I need to put money into corporate social responsibility. In this case, I'm going to do it incrementally. This year, I'm starting with a minimal donation to charity. I'm doing a 1% charitable donation to nonprofit organizations. And you're going to continue that, continue to do something different each year to increase your corporate social responsibility. That helps you to build that PQ rating, or excuse me, that image rating. Investors' expectations right now are 72, and putting money in here gives me a 75. Just remember, my market share is not great, right? My market share is not good and really is not good in Latin America. But again, if the market does what it's supposed to do, which is to price in that exchange rate adjustment in Latin America, if the markets function correctly, I should have decent market share there. So I'm not going to worry too much about not really slamming that image rating. I don't want to spend a lot of money to get my image rating way above where it's supposed to be, particularly right now, because if you read your participants guide, the image rating is most important in the last 3 years of the simulation. So my last screen that I want to look at is my finance and cash flow screen. I always want to repurchase stock to the extent that I can. I don't want to mess up my shareholder equity, but I can buy back 446,000 shares of stock. So I'm definitely going to do that. I don't want to cut my dividend. A dividend cut is a bad signal to your investors. It means that you don't have optimism for the future, that you're not going to be able to continue to pay. In hindsight, my dividend of $1 last year was probably too much, but I'm going to let my earnings catch up and I'm just going to leave my dividend at $1. We should always be seeking to reduce our weighted average cost of capital. And I've got two outstanding loans, one at 7.5% and one at 6.5%. So I'm going to pay off those two loans and I'm going to refinance that with a new 10-year loan at 5.3% interest. Now, right now, you'll see that I've got a cash shortage. So I definitely want to cover that cash shortage. But people always have the question of how much money is enough? How much money should I leave in the bank? You never want to have this high potential for an overdraft loan because it's more expensive. And the answer to how much is enough varies through the years. Initially, you can usually get by with 10 or $12 million, maybe $15 million in the bank. The deeper we get into the simulation, the more money you need to have because the bigger that your company is going to be. So if I borrow 172, now it tells me that I could generate interest income of 106,000. Well, I don't want that really low interest income. So 171 million gives me the interest income of potentially interest income of 0.8% on that. 170 million tells me that I've got high potential for overdraft. So I'm going to do 171 million. What I want to do is I want to make sure that to the extent possible, if I meet my projections, I'm not going to have a cash shortfall because the cash shortfall, if you have that, triggers an automatic 1-year emergency loan. And you don't want to do that. If you have to have that overdraft loan, it's 6.3%. But the overdraft loan, because it's 1 year, it only brings your cash balance up to zero. It's a 1-year loan. You don't have the cash in the bank that you need to have. Plus, you've got a new 1-year loan, and that really hurts you on your current ratio. So you want to pay attention to your credit rating measures over here. You want to pay attention to your ending shareholder equity balance. And you want to make sure that you're at least meeting all of your investors' expectations. Investors' expectations for EPS is $2. Return on equity is 20%. Credit rating B plus, image rating 72. Yes, I'm meeting all of those. Don't freak out when you see these numbers. This is just telling you your change from last year. Your net profit is not negative 36.6%. The net profit is actually down by 36% from last year. And specifically, the reason that my net profit is down by 36% is I invested $30 million into research and development. And I did that based on what the industry was telling me. So after having made all of these decisions, I want to run through, make sure that everything looks good, to see if maybe I could drop out $1 anywhere. Oh, I was able to take my included accessories from 18 to 17 without losing PQ. I can't go to 16, but what I might do is just to kind of be consistent. I like even numbers. 14, 14, and 16 gives me the 5.5. So that's $1 cheaper for my camera than it had been. And I want to be confident that I'm making my drone as cost effectively as I possibly can. I've picked the improvements over here that I know are important. My customers, and your participants guide will tell you this, your customers have a preference for a drone that'll stay in the air longer and fly further. So I've made my adjustments over here based on that, okay? And I just want to run through and look at everything again. One thing you may test as you are making decisions is the price sensitivity. Okay, so if I raise my price in North America by $1, do I lose any demand? The answer is no. So I'm going to keep raising that price to maximize my profit until I lose demand. And at 289, my market share is 14.2%. At 290, it drops to 13.7. So I probably want to put my price at 288 because that's the point at which I start to potentially lose sales. Okay, so I'm going to continue in each market raising my price until I lose market share and then back off $1 or $2 on those prices. Okay, Latin America, don't want to raise my price at all because it's already price sensitive. Okay, do the same thing on your camera. By the way, I put in my projected support expenditures intentionally. I did that based on the fact I want to have the best in industry retailer support because I know that retailers are important for me to sell product. I told you what I did with my marketing variables, how I set that. So I'm going to try raising my price. I'm going to just go $10 a pop here, $15.45. $15.50, I lost demand. So I'm going to set that at $15.45. I go $15.60, $15.65, $15.70, $15.75, $15.80. I lost a lot of demand there. And then I'm going to go $15.55, $15.60, $15.70, $15.75, $15.80, $15.90. Okay, so $15.85 is going to be my price. And over here in Latin America, I'm going to try $19.70, $19.80, $19.90, $2,000. Okay, I lost demand there, so let's try $19.95. And that's where I set my price there. So I've priced my product based on what my demand was. Need to make an adjustment here. And I'm trying to get $100 on website displays and search engine advertising for every product that I'm selling. So I'm just being very intentional in what I'm doing, okay? So running through my decisions, make sure that my compensation and facilities still look good, and they do. Corporate citizenship still makes sense. Finance and cash flow. And now that I've got $17 million in the bank, I can probably drop the amount of my loan. I don't want to borrow money just for the sake of borrowing money. Okay, so let's see where that needs to be. 166. Okay, 165, probably going to be as low as I can go. Yep. So I'm going to do $166 million loan. Okay, so that's all my decisions, and I save it. Remember, the last save is the one that's actually uploaded to the server. I've actually improved my credit rating up to an A-, my return on equity at 33%. I feel pretty good about these decisions, so I'm going to let it go. Now, you guys obviously have the opportunity to copy me if you'd like to implement the differentiation strategy, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that at all. But remember, one thing that's critically important is when you start getting these exchange rate adjustments like this, you have to price into your product. And that negative number there means that your price in Latin America has to go up to cover the loss as your money goes around the world. Okay. So there you go. Hope y'all have a good day, and I will see you next week. Good luck on your decisions, and good luck on your quiz that's due today by 12:20, and all your homeworks that are due, and your exam that's going to be due. So y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.